live and local with coverage you can count on. This is WNEM TV5 News at 5:30.
It's a tragedy. You know, we have a piece of heavy equipment and a bridge collapse, and we do have one deceased.
As you heard, one person is dead and another injured after an overpass collapsed onto I-75 in Cincinnati. Crews are working around the clock to remove the debris, but it's been no easy task. Good evening, I'm David Custer. We've talked with Michigan Department of Transportation officials, and they tell us that something like this is very rare. But if this were to happen in mid-Michigan, our emergency crews are ready. WNEM-TV5's Ben Bowman is live in Saginaw with more on that. Ben.
Dave, by now it's no secret that the bridge in Cincinnati collapsed. But what if the bridge behind me collapsed, or any of the other bridges in mid-Michigan? Would emergency crews be prepared? Their answers might just surprise you.
Life safety is a primary concern, so if we've got a bridge collapse like they had in Cincinnati, we'd be there to try to stabilize any further collapse.
David Summers is the captain with the Thomas Township Fire Department. He gave me his take on how emergency teams responded to a bridge that collapsed in Cincinnati.
You're doing the best you can. Nobody can ever be truly prepared for a collapse like that. It's a pretty horrific collapse.
A construction worker was killed and a truck driver was injured when an overpass that was undergoing demolition collapsed. Although there's no way to 100% prepare for the situation that happened in Cincinnati, the Saginaw Township Fire Department says they have first-rate materials to administer care.
Some of the training we have is basically what we call specialized training, which deals with high and low angle, confined space entry.
Craig Baldwin is a lieutenant with the Saginaw Township Fire Department. He says they're trained to deal with collapses similar to the one that happened in Cincinnati. This piece of equipment is used in rescues where there's a need to create space that might not be readily available between a trapped car and, let's say, a tree. With Michigan having the 33rd worst bridges according to the Reason Foundation, Summers says all you can do is prepare.
We're obviously concerned about those things, but there's not a whole lot we can really do other than react if there is a problem.
In Saginaw Township, Ben Bowman, WNEM. Now, David, right now it's unclear just how the bridge situation in Cincinnati is going to have an effect on our own funding for roads and bridges here in mid-Michigan. Right now, we'll just have to wait and see. Live in Saginaw, Ben Bowman, WNEM, TV5.
Ben, thank you. As far as that collapse in Cincinnati, southbound I-75 in that area is closed indefinitely during the cleanup and investigation. Police say the collapse was related to construction, but there is no word on an exact cause. Let's give you a live look over US 10 in Bay County and I-75 in Genesee County, where traffic is flowing smoothly out there, but temperatures are on the chilly side tonight. So just how low are they going to go? Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Moats for that answer. Hi, Doug.
Hello to you. Well, we're on par to get to numbers very close to where we were at this same time last night and overnight tonight as well, where we'll fall into the teens and 20s. Outside right now it is 27 in the Saginaw area, Flint at 30 degrees, and we are really cloudy on the outside. We have had a few breaks here and there, but right now the clouds are really thick. No precipitation though. The snow has moved out along that I-69 stretch where we saw the heaviest snow at around 2 inches or above for some parts of that I-69 stretch. In Saginaw, around an inch or just above for snowfall totals, but again, nowhere seeing snow tonight. Over the next 5 hours, we are going to have cloudy skies. Temperatures are going to stay pretty steady in the low 20s through the entire overnight period. It won't be until tomorrow morning, right before sunrise, that we drop off a couple of degrees to reach that official low. So we'll kick off the day on the chilly side, and then we'll see where the numbers head from there. I'm going to let you know where they're going to head coming up in just a few minutes.
Developing news, a medical marijuana dispensary store almost destroyed after an apparent smash and grab. Police say someone rammed a vehicle through that Green Bean store in Flint early this morning, attempting to steal cash. Nothing was reported missing, but the incident remains under investigation. Owners of the store tell us they will remain open for regular business hours, but anyone with information is asked to call the Flint Police Department. Their number is 810-237-6800. New tonight, the death toll related to the faulty General Motors ignition switch rose by 4 today, making it now 49 people who have died. This comes after the compensation fund approved more claims over the past week. GM recalled more than 2 million cars due to ignition switches that can inadvertently turn the engine off. That can disable the car's power steering and airbags. So far, nearly 3,000 claims have been made. Ford Mustangs are going international. The first shipload of nearly 100 Mustangs left Portland, Oregon, and they are on their way to China. Ford Motor Company says shipments to Europe will begin later this year. It's the first time in the Mustang's 50-year history that it will be sold overseas. The 2015 model, which is made in Michigan, will be available in more than 100 markets. Across Michigan, a man is behind bars tonight after the bodies of a couple in their 80s were discovered in a Detroit home. Oakland County officials say the bodies of an 87-year-old man and his 85-year-old wife were found Monday at their Rochester Hills home. A 53-year-old who lived at that home was arrested this morning, and police say the suspect has a history of mental illness and drug and alcohol abuse. No names have been released, nor the couple's cause of death. A U.S. delegation led by Michigan Senator Debbie Stabenow met with Cuban officials in Havana to pave the way towards full diplomatic relations. The delegation met for several hours with foreign ministers today, but did not meet with President Raul Castro. The Democrat hopes to secure the cooperation of issues and mutual interest.
Of course, the long-term goal is to create not only relationships economically, through research, through commerce, but to create, through information and transparency, the ability for the Cuban people to have the freedom that they need and deserve as persons.
The visit comes a day before Assistant Secretary of State Roberto Jacobson arrives in Havana to negotiate the reopening of the U.S. Embassy. And Michigan Governor Snyder will announce plans to merge two of the state's largest departments during his State of the State address tonight. The Department of Community Health and the Department of Human Services is expected to become one. Snyder says it will improve delivery of services to the needy. The merger can be done by way of executive order and does not require legislation. And this leads us to our fast feedback question. We asked, what do you want to hear from the governor during his State of the State speech? Jerry posted, I would like to know what his plans are for the homeless, widows, and poor people. Well, Chris wants to hear this, that he's getting rid of no-fault insurance. We need a break. And Jillian posted something truthful. Not sure what that would be. Now you can join the conversation by going to our Facebook page or tweet us using the hashtag FastFeedback. More local news, two sheriff's deputies are being recognized for saving the life of a teenager. Lapeer deputies Mark Radenbaugh and Russell Casaboom responded to a home where a 16-year-old boy was attempting to hang himself. One of the officers climbed the tree to help while his partner continued to talk to the teen. Deputies say the teen jumped, but they were able to grab and cut the rope that was around his neck. The teen is okay and underwent treatment.
All this is hard, but once you get it shaped up and you start smoothing it all out and making it beautiful, that's what's fun.
Well, things are shaping up at the annual Zender Snowfest in Little Bavaria as competitors begin sculpting their frozen creations. TV5's Elena Holland finds out what it takes to carve snow and shape it into beautiful designs.
It's kind of like being in boot camp because you're pushing yourself so hard for the next few days.
The first day of snow carving is tough. Art teacher Sandy Doppelier says it's very hard work turning a block of snow into art.
To, keep everything going and staying up late, and it's really hard, and your arms hurt, and your legs hurt, and everything else hurts, and your fingers hurt, and you can't pick up your silverware in the morning.
This isn't Doppelier's first Snowfest, but this year she's brought two of her students to help her carve, and they agree the competition is difficult.
Cold. A lot of work. It's like a mixture between boot camp and like applied defying gravity.
The day before Snowfest begins includes a lot of chopping, drawing, and patience.
Right now, a lot of the sculptures still look like the original boxes, but over the next couple days, they should look a lot more like this.
Oh, it's great. Once you can start seeing it coming out of there, it's like, oh man, I can see it now. And then everybody gets excited about, finishing it up, making it pretty. The pretty part is the fun part. All this is hard, but once you get it shaped up and you start smoothing it all out and making it beautiful, that's what's fun.
But the difficulties of today aside, the final product will be worth all the work.
I just think it's so much fun just to get a chance to carve something into these blocks, whether you win or not, and then just to see if you can, end up with the product that you started with.
And once it's finished, this team knows what they'll do.
It's like tears, just gonna cry all over it. But I'm excited to see what it turns out to look like.
In Frankenmuth, Elena Holland, WNEM-TV5.
I think we're all excited. Well, WNEM-TV5 is a proud sponsor of Zender's Snowfest. And be sure to tune in to Wake Up tomorrow morning for live coverage from Frankenmuth. Well, some local parents are upset, saying their children aren't welcome at school, and they say it all has to do with opting out of standardized testing. We're going to hear from both sides and ask the tough questions tonight at 6. And the world economy is doing worse than originally thought. Still ahead, find out where the United States stands on the global scale.
I want to give my body the best opportunity to be healthy, and your cells need vitamins and nutrients.
Find out how those suffering a nasty hangover are getting instant relief.
The Pope makes headlines for his comments on contraception. I'm Allison Harmelin in New York City with that story coming up.